Okay, before you finish your paper, you need to know a few more things just to make sure you get the highest grade possible. So let's go over some essay format and guidelines. First thing is the formatting. This is really important. I know it seems simplistic, but really it is important. I want 12-point font, and it needs to be a standard font. Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, any of those are acceptable. Please, no fancy fonts. Pretty much when you hand the paper in, it's going to look really boring, and that's okay. That's actually what I want. Instead, what you write is what's going to make the words pop off of the page. Also, 1-inch margins on all sides. Microsoft Word automatically defaults at 1 1/4 inch, so you do need to go in and change the margin sizes. Double spaced, always, unless I tell you otherwise. This is going to be the case for all of your teachers. Unless a teacher tells you single space, assume it should be double spaced. Just so you know, here's a quick little trick for you. In Microsoft Word, if you hit Control A, it will select your entire paper. And then if you hit Control 2, it will automatically double space it for you. MLA heading, which I will get to in just a moment. And then there is no title necessary for this paragraph. All I want is the heading and then your paragraph. So let's take a look at the MLA heading. The heading is going to be in the upper left-hand corner of your paper, and you're going to put your name, then my name, Mrs. Cook, then English 1 honors, and then the date. And the date needs to be in MLA format. So that is the day, which is 6, the month, September, and then the year. Please spell the month out in its entirety. Don't use abbreviations here. Microsoft Word likes to think that it knows what you're going to type. Make sure that it does this correctly. And this is also double spaced. Another hint, don't actually go to the header function in your word processing program to type this in. Otherwise, it shows up on every single page. Instead, just go to the top left-hand corner of your page and just start typing this. All right, a couple more things. There is to be no first or second person. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. There's to be no first or second person in your paper unless it's already in a quote. Again, we don't change the quotes unless we need to just change a word to present tense in order to have it flow smoothly with your quote or with your own words. First person, that equates to I, me, my. You don't want to put yourself in the writing at this point, because the minute you put it yourself in there, it's going to be a statement like I think or I believe. And when you say I think or I believe, you've just turned a statement into an opinion, which makes it a lot less believable. So instead, take out that I think or I believe and just state it. Second person is the you and the your. You don't want to mention your reader. Instead, you want to just state things as is. So you don't want to say, for instance, when you are reading about. Instead, just say, when Faber does this, and move on. Okay, strong and specific word choice. This is going to be the difference between an elementary written paper and a sophisticated paper. You want to use really specific word choice. Avoid words such as things, stuff, and it. Instead, be specific. So if you're saying that there are lots of things in the society that take people's attentions away from stuff, instead say there are various forms of technology that distract people from the realities of life. Be specific in what it is you're trying to say. Don't assume that your reader can read your mind. As far as specific word choice goes, it's really easy to fall into the use of words like good, bad, happy, big, all these types of words. Instead of using these kindergarten words, think about synonyms for these words. This is why we're taught synonyms in elementary school. Here's the thing though, you don't want to just go to thesaurus and choose the biggest word because you think that's what Mrs. Cook wants to see. That is not the case. You need to make sure that the word that you choose or the word that you use actually fits what you're trying to say. So for instance, if I'm going with the word bad, Montag thinks that it's bad that Mildred watches TV all the time. Well, one of the synonyms for bad is wicked. I wouldn't say that Montag thinks it's wicked that Mildred watches TV all the time. Instead, it would be Montag disapproves of her watching TV all the time, or Montag finds it disturbing that she watches TV all the time. Notice the difference in the meanings. So instead of saying instead of saying big, you can say enormous, gigantic, colossal. Instead of saying instead of saying current age, you can say modern age. Utilize those synonyms more. Okay, when we're writing formal papers, which you are doing, you're going to avoid using contractions. And the reason why is because contractions are shortcuts. Pretty much the reason we have them is because we're trying to write things faster by hand. And then, of course, over time, we've adopted these and incorporated them into our everyday language. They're great for note-taking. They're great when writing a letter to a friend, but they are not appropriate for a formal paper. So can't becomes cannot. Don't becomes do not. He'd becomes he would, etc., etc. Present tense. I mentioned this before. When you write about fiction, you always write in the present tense because that story is always going on. So the example I have here is Montag wears a seashell in order to keep in contact with Faber. Make sure you check your paper for present tense. Title of the novel. In the topic sentence of your paper, you want to make sure you include Ray Bradbury and Fahrenheit 451. That way your reader knows exactly what book it is you're talking about. Make sure you italicize the title of novels. Large works are italicized. Fahrenheit 451 is a large work. Short works are put in quotation marks. The Pedestrian, which is a short story, would be put in quotation marks. So again, italicize 451. And lastly, tie everything back to your topic sentence. Make sure that every single sentence in your paragraph ties back to that topic sentence. If it doesn't, you either need to change the topic sentence or you need to change the support. I hope that you are getting ready to put this all together and create an awesome final draft. I'm looking forward to reading them.